Hi, my name is Areej. I'm currently based in Dubai. I'm a computer science educator. This video cast is called HearAreej. This is my second episode. I'm so excited to bring you a special guest today. And as part of this video cast, we have ensured that we've got the PSL interpretation provided, and we've also got the captions below. So if you would like to read the captions in English, please select the button below and it will pop up the captions for you. So as you can see, I partnered with Connect here today, and we provided the captions and we provided the PSL interpretation. And I hope you guys, wherever you are in the world, you are well. And I think I'm ready to bring my guest on the screen. Her name is Nina, and she's a creative director, and I can't wait to have an engaging and interesting discussion with her today. So let's bring her on. Hi, Nina, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So you're based in UK. You mentioned Brighton, is that correct?
Yeah, I'm from Brighton.
How's the weather there?
Um, it's really rainy today actually, which is quite sad.
I mean, in the UK, that's the typical weather, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been like this for a week.
Oh wow! So I'm so excited to have you today, and we're going to go through a few questions and a few topics relating to the media and fashion today. Before we do that, I'm curious to find out a bit more about your hearing loss journey.
Yeah, yeah, I think it started, I don't really know when it started. I was about 4 years old when I got hearing aids for the first time. But the doctors only really realized that I had hearing loss when I was 4, because I had tonsillitis and then I lost all of my hearing. And they went in, they were like, oh, we missed this when you were little. And I was like, okay. I was like, okay. But yeah, I put in hearing aids and I was like, oh my God, the world makes noise. so that's
Oh
basically.
wow! So you went to possibly a doctor's appointment, and then that's where they identified that you have a hearing loss. Is that correct? Around the age of 4.
Yeah, so yeah, I just started school, primary school, and that's how they noticed it, because I was around other people. Because obviously growing up, I had my family, and you kind of get to know your family because obviously you grow up with them. So yes, that's how it was spotted, which is quite interesting actually. I found it quite interesting looking back now. I'm just like, oh.
So that's quite interesting, because I feel like I found out about my hearing loss in a similar sort of way. So I would quite often get a lot of ear infections. And when I started school, someone would come in and have a look at, sometimes your teeth, sometimes your hair, or weird things like that. So someone came in to actually have a look at hearing. And that's when they discovered that, oh, she can't hear properly. And that's when I got my first hearing aids. So I had hearing aids up until the age of 25. And then I just felt like I was really struggling. So I needed to get a cochlear implant surgery. So that's why I've got an implant and one in now. But how are you managing with the hearing aids? They seem to work for you so far?
Yeah, it's a yes no battle for the past few years, because they work and I can hear mostly, but my ears keep on having because allergic reactions to the molds. And I had that growing up, my ears would always be it's very gross, but my ears would always be dry. And then they gave me anti-allergenic molds, and then they got allergies to that. So it's just been a journey of just saying just like, this isn't working, and they're just like, try this, and I'm just like, my ears are itchy. So yeah, so they help me hear, but they can be uncomfortable sometimes.
Wow, like I never even thought about that, but obviously, of course, someone can be allergic to literally anything. I mean, these things that are trying to help you being then allergic to them. Have you ever thought about possibly getting a cochlear implant? Yeah.
Yeah, I've considered it. I think because I have hearing checkups every like 3-4 years. So I think my next one is sometime this year. So I was going to go in and talk to them about it. Because I remember when I was little, they said, "Oh, why don't we do a surgery to see like if I'm able to have it?" And my mum was like, "No, she's too young." But I think now that I'm older, I might try and consider it again.
Yeah, no, definitely. So I think for me, it was the same thing. My mum was too afraid, and they're like, it's a surgery, it's a big risk. Do you really want to do that? So they just stay away from it. But now that you're an adult and it's up to you, it's your decision, you can decide what you want. So I was like, you know what, I'm going into the corporate world and being around so many professionals and trying to do your best. Sometimes when your ears aren't working, it can kind of push you back. And you're like, you know what, if this is going to help me, and people have so many success stories around it, let's just give it a shot. So I just did one ear, because usually they say, just try it out with one ear, see how it goes. So then at least you've got one ear to still hear, or just use a hearing aid, so you've got both options. So, I mean, that would be interesting to see what comes out of your next appointment.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next question that I have is, obviously we all know that there are challenges that we face every day with our hearing loss, but how do you feel that you've been able to overcome them? Did you feel like maybe you were like put down because of your hearing loss, or you discriminated or bullied? Any of those, do they apply to you, and how did you sort of overcome them?
I know when I was like younger, so when I was in first, second school growing up, I was really, really quiet. And like now that I'm older, I can look back and be like, it's because like everything around me was so loud, that even me speaking was like too loud. So I was really, really quiet. And I got really bullied for that as well. And I think the way I overcame that is I kind of started going to music events, and I kind of like started training myself to kind of be comfortable with the sound around me. And then I like started to be able to talk more, to kind of like be more confident in my voice. Because I think it was just a sensitivity to sound for a long time. So yeah, so it was quite nice to kind of be able to like go to an event and just like hear all this noise and actually feel comfortable. So yeah, that's one of the main
Yeah,
things.
and I think if you do get the cochlear implant, it's like that, but 10 times more.
Yeah.
So, because we get so used to being in peace and quiet, and the moment you put the hearing aids on, everything is so noisy. And then with the cochlear implant, you don't actually know how noisy the world is. It's absolutely crazy that I'm like, oh my God, that makes noise. That makes noise. Like literally, like I have to turn the AC off, just the AC, or even little things that are making noise in the background. I have to turn them off, otherwise I find them so distracting. So I do feel like even though we don't hear so well, we can be very sensitive to sound as well, which is kind of weird. So it's like, what do you mean it's loud? You can't hear in the first place.
Literally, oh my God. It's like because whenever I take my hearing aids out, it's weird, but I get really like peaceful about it sometimes. Like I'll go on a walk and just take out my hearing aids and like walk, and I'll just be like, I'm just having a good time. Then I put them in, and then just the wind is just like shh. So oh my God, it's so loud.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. It's like even suddenly, honestly, like every little thing is making noise. Like suddenly your hair moving over your hearing aid is making noise. The car's making noise. Like it's just like, why is everything making noise? I just want to be able to maybe hear the radio. I just want to be able to hear the person talking in front of me. Why do I have to hear all these sounds? You know?
Yeah.
So it's like, but then, they do have a lot of settings on the hearing aid where you can block that kind of noise out. Do you tend to use a lot of those settings?
I think so with me, with my hearing aids, even though they're set on like the loudest kind of setting, I always have to turn them up to like the top volume, just like hear properly. I know when I was little, I used to use a feature which kind of like turned it down a bit and kind of focused like the noise and whatever you were looking at. So if you looked at something, you'd hear that mostly. But I think I felt really insecure because I was like, I want to know what's going on around me as well. So as much as the noise can be overwhelming, like whenever I don't have my hearing aids in, I'm very like, what's happening? Like I need to know what's happening around me.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I also felt the same, even though I did tend to use that same setting when I was younger on my hearing aids. Still, you just want to be aware because sometimes someone can be calling you from the back and you just have no idea. And then afterwards, when you don't hear them, you kind of feel a bit like a fool. You're like, oh my God, how embarrassing is that? That person was probably calling me for like 10 minutes and I didn't hear them. And
Yeah.
everyone's probably looking around. So you do feel a bit like insecure in that sense. You don't want to make a fool out of yourself. So you mentioned that you got bullied when you were younger. How did you overcome that?
Um, I think it was more of just realizing that, I was the only one growing up who had hearing aids, so I didn't really know other people who wore hearing aids. So I went to like a hearing school, and it just got to the point where I was just like, it doesn't make a difference. Like if I can hear, if I can't hear, if like people have, you know, stuff like that or not. I think I just, at the end of the day, I didn't want like my hearing loss to define me as that one thing. And I think I got a bit just kind of determined to show people that like I wasn't just like that quiet girl in the corner. I was like, I can be creative too. So yeah, so I just kind of used that push to just step out. And then that's when I started to really love my hearing aids and like my hearing as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. Honestly, like I just love what you said there. And it is all about learning to love it. The moment you learn to love that part of yourself, it's the moment that you accept yourself and people will start to accept you for who you are around. The moment you're that quiet girl who, I mean, it's okay if people want to be that quiet person, but it just shows that sometimes you're quite insecure about something and you then make yourself an easy target to bullying as well. And usually bullying is not because of you and that you're making yourself a target. It's more to do with the other person, that they just want to, they're bored and they've got issues and they just want to kind of take it out on someone. And I just don't think that anyone should ever be bullied for these reasons. And that's why we kind of need to spread the message out there that look, hearing loss is quite common and it does happen. And we shouldn't be targeted for these reasons. There's ways to help us and actually include us and make us part of conversations, and the more we kind of educate the public on that, the more we can change the perception of it.
Yeah, definitely.
So just moving on, I wanted to discuss a few ideas and how we feel that fashion and media can be used to change the perception of hearing loss. So I know you've been working on some amazing designs and I've been showing them to my friends and things, and you've been putting a lot of stickers and screws and lots of cool things together, which I find really creative. And how do you think we can use that to, change the perception of hearing loss?
I think it can happen almost in two ways. So I think with some designs I do on like really old hearing aids, like from when I had like 10 years ago, because they're really like impractical, but they're also like really bold and like really beautiful. And so I think on that side, it's good to raise awareness to people who like don't really know much about hearing aids, and they're just like, oh, it isn't just, you know, this thing that people put in their ears. It can be beautiful, even though they're beautiful already. And I think on the other hand, it is really good to have like that inclusivity in the industry as well. Because I know for me, like I'm a fashion person. I love kind of like dressing nicely, and like I used to work in the fashion industry as well. And it just got to the point where it's just like, you know, they design sunglasses, they design clothes, like why can't we design hearing aids as well? Or like, you know, cochlear implants, like why can't that be a part of it as well? So I think it's important to include it, but I also think it's important that it's designed by the deaf community as well, rather than taken on by people who don't wear that stuff.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point that you mentioned there, in making sure that it's designed by people like us who actually know what it's like, and just making sure that they provide us that platform to get our ideas out there, because we're the ones that have been through the experience. And I mean, it would be shocking if we suddenly saw people designing them and then someone's wearing them who doesn't even have a hearing loss. It's like, you know, when will we get the opportunity to have that platform to share our story, our ideas? You know, why is it always constantly just being given to someone else? So yeah, I agree with that. But so you mentioned that you're a creative director. So there's a few things that you're working on as well. Do you mind just sharing some of those?
Yeah, of course. So I do hearing aid designs in like my spare time. Just it's a really good, like almost like stress reliever sometimes. Like I just sit and just do that. But I'm also working on a project called The Hearing Show, with another person called Faye. Me and her are working together. We both wear hearing aids, and like she has a cochlear implant as well. And it's basically bringing awareness to the deaf community in the creative industry, and kind of working together with hearing people, and just kind of creating like fun little projects just to kind of like get everything to intertwine together, and just spread awareness, but also spread creativity. So yeah, it'll be a fun project.
Yeah, that would be totally fun. And I think there's a need for that, because I have noticed that quite often people with a hearing loss, because sometimes at the start of their life, they may be shut into this cave and closed off, isolated, they tend to find their creativity within themselves and turn out to be very creative people who then build that confidence and then go out and share that and express that creativity from within themselves. And when that happens, we get really cool ideas like yourself and a few other people I've met. I'm like, wow, you know, you've got some insane ideas and you've got some really cool designs coming out. But so many different things, like, I mean, graphics design, video editing, and then even media. But sometimes I feel like people with a hearing loss, they still don't know whether they'll be kind of good enough for the industry, because there's so much competition, and that kind of sometimes pushes you back. You're like, oh my God, like I can't hear. So if I go into that industry, there's music, there's sound, there's listening, there's video editing or dancing, music. Oh, but I can't hear. There's someone there who can hear. And I think that's with anything, but specifically the media and creative industry, people do kind of get discriminated. Do you feel that's true?
I definitely feel like it is true. I didn't really notice it as much until I was around like this past year or two, because I started working in the music industry, which was, I was just like, you know, I can't hear, but you know, I'm just gonna work in sound anyway. But yeah, so I kind of met other musicians and other creatives, and most of them were really nice. And it got to a point where they were just like, oh my God, I didn't even realize you wore hearing aids. And I was like, yeah, I do. And then like they kind of make jokes without realizing that like they're like harmful, or like, you know, it's not okay. And it got to the point where I was just like, you know what, people need to be educated on this, and they need to, you know, make sure that they, you know, respect, you know, the deaf community. And I think that's where I started like really getting into like my hearing aids and like the whole community, because I was like, there needs to be that change where people can just feel comfortable.
Yeah, and I think that's what we're trying to do. And I'm glad that the deaf community is kind of starting to speak up about it as well, because that perception really needs to change. And I'm quite excited to see how your show's going to come about and how the fashion industry may take its chance. I feel like, well, partly what I'm working on is possibly partnering up with a few brands would be a good idea. So, you know, kind of like reaching out to them and being like, hey, you need to be kind of accessible in this area. And what can we do together to make it get out there? I think that's one of the good approaches that we can use. Because if you look back in the days, sunglasses, or I mean, glasses especially, were seen as something that geeks wore. Glasses were seen as something that people wore with eyesight. They used to be really big and chunky. They weren't fashionable at all. But now you will notice people wear them as a fashion accessory.
Yeah.
And how did that change? That change happened by a designer brand being like, hey, let's put that as a proper accessory on our catwalk. Let's make it part of our collection. Let's put a designer brand name on it. Okay, let's do that with hearing aids. Let's do that with cochlear implants. What can we do to make it look cool, fashionable, creative? I mean, the way I designed my cochlear implant recently, so many people have said to me, oh, I remember Lady Gaga, she used to have these really chunky headphones, and they had like gemstones all over them, and they're really cool. You know, like this is what that reminds them of. And since I started decorating it, so many people have been really open to the option that, oh my God, that looks like a hair clip. And I think the only way to actually change that perception is if we could get hearing people to also wear the device. So it looks like something you could just put in your hair and everyone's wearing it. That is the way to normalize something. That's one idea I have. Do you feel like there's a possibility of that happening?
I feel like it can go both ways, because I know it would definitely raise awareness and people will kind of be more aware of what's happening. But I also feel like some designs should just be worn by obviously the deaf community, because I know, like in my personal experience, I had someone I knew when I was like 14, and like she saw that I wore hearing aids and she pretended to be deaf to get her own hearing aids. And like ever since that happened, I was just like, why? Why? Because I know I was just like, okay, but
No,
I
but
know I
why
have
would
had,
you pretend to be deaf? Why would you pretend?
I don't know. It was the first time I actually got like frustrated. But no, I kind of like ever since then I've just been very kind of like I've had people message me for my hearing aid designs and be like, oh, you know, I really like wish I had like a hearing aid to, you know, wear these designs. And I'm just like, you know, I'm so happy that you love them and that you see them, but also, you know, if you don't have a hearing aid, just support it, like just, you know, share it, bring awareness. But I definitely feel like there could be a design which can be worn by people who wear like hearing aids or cochlear implants, and also by hearing people. It's just about finding that kind of like common ground which is comfortable for everyone. It's definitely needed as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think maybe if it was something like an ear cuff design, that could possibly work, where it's like an earring instead of a hearing aid. Obviously, the way we've looked at putting stickers on hearing aids and things like that, that would only be worn by someone who has the device. And interestingly enough, someone with a cochlear implant, you have to have a surgery. So no one can pretend to be deaf with a cochlear implant.
Yeah, thankfully for that. Oh.
Yeah, but I mean, it's quite interesting to see. Do you feel like some people think we get special treatment for having a hearing loss or something? Do you think that's why she would do that?
Um, I'm not really sure. I guess it's an individual thing, because obviously we all have our own personal things ourselves. And I think at that moment it kind of made me realize how like actually beautiful it can be, because I'm just like, you know, why would, at the time I was like, why like would someone else want this? Like it's like my gran has hearing aids too, like I always like hid them. And then once that happened I was like, oh, they're jealous of my hearing aids, and I like was just kind of like wearing them out every day. I was just like
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, I don't think I ever experienced anything like that, but I did always have the perception that, you know, it's something that all people wear. Because interestingly, even the older generation of my family, when they were given hearing aids, they refused to wear them because it makes them insecure that they're aging. You know,
Yeah.
there's this whole aging process connected to the design. And also, if you notice, even though you can get so many different colors in hearing aids and cochlear implants, they are particularly designed to be invisible.
Yeah.
Because people are insecure about them. It's something to be hidden. And I think that's also what we're now trying to change, because I notice now the way I put gemstones and things on my cochlear implant, it just looks so nice. But people just come to you and ask you, wow, that looks so nice. Where's that from? How did you do that? Did you do that yourself? It looks so beautiful. It looks so pretty. Even though you're right, they do look beautiful and pretty the way that they are made. It's kind of to connect with the human body as well, which makes it kind of beautiful. But still, I feel like there's this whole theory behind how they're designed, and they are made to be invisible. And that's where we kind of need to change that. And it's like, okay, what can we do to make them more fashionable and accessories? The other thing is that I've seen girls doing it more in terms of experimenting with design other than guys. I haven't seen very many guys trying to experiment with designs.
Yeah.
Do you know of any males who are trying to experiment with the designs? Because that would be interesting to see, you know?
I don't know anyone at the moment, but I know I do try and encourage everyone. I know when I released like a pearl design, I made it purely because I was just like, you know, I have a pearl necklace, so I wanted to match my hearing aid. And I remember this guy messaged me and was just like, can you do like a male version? And I said to him, I was just like, you know, this is for anyone. This is unisex. You know, go out and like wear this proudly. And he was like, okay, and then like just went off and was just like, I'm gonna try that one day. So I definitely feel like just kind of bring awareness, just saying, you know, anyone can wear these designs, just, you know, feel comfortable in your own skin, is definitely needed as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to think, and it isn't easy, even though for guys things can tend to be a bit more simple and basic. I do feel like your designs are probably more unisex compared to what I've done so far. I feel like I've been a bit too feminine, and I'm trying to come up with creative ideas that, you know, anyone could wear. But yeah, I'd be so excited to see where you know, this could lead in the future, because there's definitely an idea right now and no one's actually thinking about it enough, and there's definitely opportunity for it. So I'm excited to see where the future goes, and I'm so excited to see where your show leads the way for people with a hearing loss as well. And when that launches back in April, you mentioned it's coming out in April.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm really excited for that, and I'm so happy to have you on today. It's been amazing discussing all these different topics with you today. And before we start to wrap up, is there anything you wanted to share today?
I don't really think so. I think just if anyone is watching this and is feeling insecure about their own hearing loss, just, you know, remember it's natural, and just don't let it get you down, basically.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time, Nina. And thank you so much to PSL for the interpretation. Thank you, Alia. It's been amazing. And we will be in touch with you again soon, Nina, for any future collaborations. And if you want to get in touch with Nina, if you want to find out about her designs, feel free to follow her Instagram page. And I will see you all soon. Okay, take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.